Welcome to a new anime review series. This is my review of the series xxxX. Well, basically, I'm calling it xxxHolic. It's a series about granting wishes. That's the gist of the series. While the main character was on a series of jobs with his boss, his smoking hot boss. I'll get to those two in a minute. Now, this series is adapted from manga done by four women. Yes, that's not a joke. It's done by four women who goes by the name of Clamp. Yes, Clamp. A group that was started back in 1987. Yes, and they're still doing work today. Yeah, they're actually currently working on, believe it or not, like two manga right now. A sequel to this series I'm talking right now, and a sequel to another series which was adapted for an anime. Well, I may get to it at some point in the future. Yes, the other series they worked on, which was adapted, and I have heard of this series before. It's called Car Captor. Well, it was referred to as Car Captors, but basically it was Car Captor Sakura. They're the ones who created the manga that this anime was based upon. I watched the episodes of when it was on the air. Well, when I was like kids I was in middle school when this thing aired, so I might get to that at some point. But this is basically one of the most famous series they did. Now, this series, now the manga itself lasted for 213 chapters. Yes, 213 chapters, which started from 2003 to 2009, roughly 6 years. Yes, 6 years. My only guess is the reason why it took 213 chapters released over the course of 6 years. I don't think it's because it was a monthly series. No, I think it was a series that came out every couple weeks. That's my personal guess, anyways, of why only 213 chapters released that long period of time. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now the series itself is made by Production IG. Yeah, that's a studio who made the series. Mm-hmm. And they're infamous for the creation. Their most famous series is, believe it or not, Ghost in the Shell. Yes, they're the ones who made the Ghost in the Shell anime. I've actually watched. It's really good. They also cooperated with Witsu to work on Attack on Titan. I think they worked on the first season for the show, and they also work on Attack on Titan Junior High, and that's basically it. Now, the series itself aired over the course of 2 years. Yes. Right now, basically, with this review, I'm covering the first 12 episodes of the anime. Before I cover the episodes, let's talk about the characters who appear in this series. First of which, the main character, Watani, voiced by the ever awesome Todd Heppercorn. Yes. Though this is the first series I've actually seen him in a new series where basically it's not him appearing in one of the movies since Black Butler. That was the last series I heard his voice in. Mm-hmm. Then you have his smoking hot boss, Yuko, voiced by another awesome dub actor, one of my personal favorites, Colleen Clickenbeard. We also have Damaki, a man who is a son of a priest and basically kind of like an exorcist in a way. He is voiced by J. Michael Turnham. Yes, who also I last heard in Black Butler. Yeah, that's not a joke. That was the last series I heard him in. Though Colin Clickenbeard last one, of course, is the series I'm talking about today, Fire Force. Himawari, who's the character who appears throughout most of this entire series, she is voiced by Karma Lee. Yes, an actress. I believe this is the one who. I think she's the one who voiced Lucy from Fairy Tale. No, I think she voiced somebody else. She voices Lucy from Fairy Tale, and she also is the dub for Sadara Uchiha from Boruto, and she's the voice of Sailor Venus for Sailor Moon. She also voiced a Patty Thompson from Soul Eater. Yep. And this is early. And she also the voice of Road Camelot from D. Greyman. And she's voiced a few characters in the Funimation dub for One Piece. This is actually her. Let's see, one, two, three, four. This is only her sixth series she's done. Yeah, sixth series, and it's great though. Yep. We also have a couple of characters appear in these episodes. We have Zenki Washari. She actually appears in like one episode. She's voiced by Brina Priscilla. And there's also Ami Warsuri. She's voiced by Kate Oxley. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also the adorable Maturu, who's just an adorable little creature, which of course he made his debut in the very first episode. There's also Maka and Moreau. Yeah, they're a couple of, let's just say, girls, I'd say. I think. Yeah, I think they're girls. They are, let's see. They are voiced by, in the dub, by Brina Priscilla, who voices Morrow. The other one's voiced by Leah Clark. Yep, the same woman who voices Boa Hancock from One Piece. Hmm. Yep. Now, the first episode is pretty much almost verbatim, basically like a straight up adaptation of the first two chapters of the manga. The episode starts off with Watani, the main character of the series, and one of two who actually appears in the entire series overall. Yes. Though he does have a personality change throughout the last 21 chapters of the series because the other character just disappears for no explained reason. Yeah, I have no idea why they thought this was a good idea. And the sequel series just ignores basically what happens at the end of the series because they kind of return to status quo when it comes to, like, the actual series itself. Now, the main character is basically dressed in a school uniform, and I should point out that the animation is very bizarre, to say the least, because, well, they're trying to emulate the style of the manga. Mostly it's the characters are basically like this. The backgrounds are fantastic. It's just that some of the characters like Watage, basically at times when you see him move, it's like, wow, he's like a long, humongous stick figure. His fingers are so freaking long, and he basically just does his little crazy stuff throughout most of the series. He's basically running from some spirits who basically need to crush him, and then he ends up near what looks like to be someone's house. Of course, it's revealed to be a shop. And this I should point out, though, now when they introduced the female lead for the series, this is exactly how she introduced in the manga. Okay, he basically just, well, he sees two little girls, they bring him in, and they bring him to their mistress, Yoko. Now, she's used in the manga the same exact way she's in the series. She's basically wearing a kimono with the top part open to show off her breast. Because, well, not exactly show off like complete top. She has no shirt underneath. Yeah, she wears various outfits of the course series. And she's basically slouched on this couch, like leaning over and smoking from a pipe. Yes, she's seen smoking from a pipe for pretty much almost every episode she's in. She's always smoking this pipe a lot. I think of the 12 episodes I've seen her in, I think there's like one episode she doesn't light up. But I would say pretty much most of the time she's usually seen doing this. And she wants to basically reveal his wish. Of course, his wish is to be relieved the seeing spirits. Well, naturally, basically kind of like two requests. First is basically paying via his pocket watch, which, by the way, he never gets that back at all. Yep. And eventually, he tells the wish, and payment, work for me. That's basically his payment. Basically, we work part-time. So, yeah. And, of course, well, let's have a party. Oh, yes. And I should point out, this woman drinks a lot. She drinks lots and lots of sake. Japanese alcohol. Very popular over there. Yep. So, go party guests. Go to a warehouse. Because she has one. Somehow, despite that, it looks like a Japanese mansion. That's what it looks like to me. So, he goes to this thing, finds this character simply by bumping into a shelf, and there he is, this cute little adorable guy. And then they go shopping. Yep. And my guess is he's got a personal salary because they don't really say exact. They probably gets an allowance from his parents to basically buy this stuff. Either that or Yunko is compensating him. As for how she's paying him, this is something that's never revealed in the series. How is she paying him? Because she looks like a very wealthy woman, and yet she doesn't look like she actually. She must have like a humongous expense account to run this place. And from what I can tell, this place, despite the fact this is present day Japan, there is no AC in this house. Now, the house does have a telephone. Yes, they do have like one of those old telephones with cords. Yeah, unlike nowadays, you might see landlines, basically like a little stick-up thing. Yes, Older phones used to basically be like this thing where you just pull from the top and you spin like a rotating dial. I have seen these PCs before, and I've actually used one once years ago. Yeah, they actually show us in the manga. In the anime, they haven't shown our phone yet. So they just basically have a party while he's also revealed to be a very good cook because he cooks a lot of our food. Yep. And that's the gist of the first episode, just basically set up. The second episode introduced Himari and Damaki, who pretty much appear throughout most of these episodes. I think Himari missed like 2. I would say, with the exception of the pilot, she's overall missed like about 3 episodes overall. She's generally in there for the majority of the time, and she's the only person that Watari does not argue with. Of course, they also hint to the fact that Watari's birthday, his name is also means April 1st. Yeah, his birthday is April Fool's Day. Yep. Now, the second episode, which is called Falsehood. The first episode is called Inevitable. The second one's called Falsehood. Yeah, it's about a woman. Now, all the clients are all women. Yes, that's the strange thing about her. Okay, so apparently she has this thing where her pinky basically starts smoking. This actually comes to play in later episode where they revisit this topic again in later episode. Basically, apparently she's a liar. Yes, that's basically her habit. It's like, you wondering what here's a bad habit. It's revealed off the episode that she is actually a liar. Yes, she lies constantly about having a boyfriend, and she also lies about her age. That's basically her bad habit, that she's lying. Mm-hmm. Yep. And of course, she basically is agreed by Yonko. She comes back to shop once. She's probably the only client who actually comes back to shop. Out of all the entire series, she's the only one who actually does. Yeah, and for a shop, they don't get many clients, which is kind of bizarre, to say the least. Yeah, there is one episode where you don't have a client come inside the shop, but I'll explain that in a little bit. So, she basically constantly lies about having a boyfriend. So, Tari basically goes out and follows just to keep an eye on her. Yeah, he does this throughout most of these episodes for our clients. He just likes to keep an eye on the clients, see nothing bad happens to them. So, eventually, after running around, takes off the ring. She apparently doesn't see the fact there's a freaking semi truck and basically runs her over, though she lives. Watari basically takes her to the hospital, takes her for a while, and then they never see his client ever again. Yes, a lot of these episodes would be one-shot episodes. That's generally. It's not exactly. If you look at these episodes, they're not exactly returning the status quo. It's just a series of one-shot adventures. That's basically what the series is. Also, I should point out, though, that the dub for this series, which I'm watching the dub for it, stopped after the first season. Yes, I found out the reason why for this, and it's the same reason that the dub for Toriko and Case Closed ended. Low DVD sales. That is the reason for it. Yeah, kind of a very dumb reason why, because apparently DVD sales were not very good for this series. That's the reason why that they canceled the dub, despite the fact there's still more stuff for the series to dub. They could dub it, but nope, they just don't care. But luckily enough, Funimation does still have. Now, I basically am able to watch on the Funimation website. Yes, I actually have a subscription to Funimation streaming service, which is only $5.99. Yep, it's pretty. If you're thinking $5.99, it's like $599. No, $5.99. Basically about $6 a month. It's actually the cheapest streaming service I have ever seen. You know the most expensive one is I've seen Amazon Prime, which is like almost $100 I'm not paying that, no. And people think Netflix is expensive. Amazon Prime is more expensive than that. But this is by far the cheapest subscription service I have ever seen. As far as I know, Viz Media does not have one, despite the fact they do have a partnership with Hulu. Aside from that, they basically don't have their own streaming service. I wouldn't mind them having one. I think Viz Media does. Well, I think the reason why Viz Media is able to have their own streaming service, and this is my personal opinion, because they can afford it. Yes, Viz Media probably can, but they choose not to. That's just my personal opinion when it comes to that. Yep. So, yeah, and this character is never seen again. Himari does meet. I think she she meets Yonko next episode. Yeah, in the very next episode, Angel Himari meets Yonko for the first time because Watari mentioned last episode he's got a part-time job now, and Yonko gets along with her perfectly fine. Yeah, she basically enjoys her company, and of course recruits Damaki to help with this assignment. Basically, figure out what's going to a friend of Himari's school. So they break into the school. They don't take anything. They're basically there just to exercise the spirit. That's literally what they're there to do. And basically all involves a version of the Ouija board instead of it's a paper version instead of just basically moving like an object. I personally have never used a Ouija board, but yeah, the Ouija board is basically some kind of, it's a strange supernatural based thing. I don't know if it's really, now the board itself is real. I have seen the board. I have never actually used it. It's particularly like a little bizarre of a thing. It's also a game. This is basically like two girls, two women, two teenagers just moving a pen around writing a name. So eventually they get to the rooftop of this school. Of course, Watari, who sees spirits, sees a giant purple spirit running around the building. Oh yeah, and I thought this was really cool. The fact that, of course, Watari thought this was annoying. He's given a pair of cat ears. Yes, cat ears. Where Yonko is able to communicate with him despite the fact not being there. Himari wanted to come, but no, you stay here. Bring Damaki along. Okay. Yeah, because the reason why she has him constantly with despite the fact he doesn't like him very much, because he can actually sense spirits. Okay. That's cool. That's really good. The fact he's good. And the thing is, he's also, a lot of the time when you see Watari interact with Damaki, he tends to sort of argue with him a lot. Hawari is the only character he's not arguing with a lot. He argues with Yonako, which, by the way, she does at the same anger level. She is, in the second episode, you can hear her basically be angry, which is the only time you see her angry that I've seen these episodes, but it's pretty much the same anger type that Colin Gilligan uses in all of her characters. Which is fine, I have no problem with it, because she's a fantastic voice actress. Yep. Let's see, what else? They eventually, once they get to the top of the school, they eventually find the teenage girls. Eventually they free them from the thing, and then a giant snake spirit shows up. Now, Damaki cannot see this thing at all, but Watari gets knocked off the roof. He stays by Damaki, though he also breaks his arm in the process. And apparently the headphones fall off that he was wearing, so the thing is able to gobble it up as a sacrifice in a way for the gobble up his evil spirits, and of course they later see with a sling. He's even a sling in the very next episode, though eventually he's out of the sling right away. Though last time I checked, a broken arm takes more than just a couple weeks to heal. A broken arm takes about a few months to heal. I personally have never suffered any broken limbs, but I know that it takes a few months for they freaking heal. That's basically when it comes to that. But yep. Yonako interacts in a few times in the course series. Then we have fortune telling. Yeah, this is basically about them finding a fortune teller, and the way they found one fortune teller is her taking her handkerchief, folding it into a butterfly, and that's how they find it. It's an odd episode. It doesn't really go much place except more explanation of Yuriko's powers. That's really it. Game of Letters. Actually a pretty fun episode. Yeah, this one is basically like Watari's getting late to meet with Yoko, so he just happens to come across a noodle cart. Well, a food cart. Yeah, you probably won't see this in the US at all. It's probably very commonplace in Japan to see these, but here in the US, no, we don't have these at all. And it's run by a couple foxes. Yes, a fox. In kind of like in human form, human size. Which, okay, he's kind of spooked by it, but he perfectly accepts it. Eats their food, really good. Takes some leftovers home. And Yonko knows exactly because she tried her before. And she's actually quite surprised. And eventually gives this like a special thing. Okay, and take this bag with you, which has Monko inside of it. Play the game of letters. Just guess some words. and apparently keeps this evil spirit away. Able to get to the food cart, no problem. Open up, revealed to be an empty bird cage. But wait, it's not empty bird cage. Apparently, it's a bird cage where the birds can only see in the moonlight. Well, basically their shadow version. And it's also seen that one of the birds basically has got a damaged wing. So they fixed that with the broken arrow that he got early on in the episode from Damaki somehow. And of course, him and War were basically watching this archery match. He just basically he also won the trophy anyways. Dropped the arrow off his bag. The little fox who basically is basically very attached to Watari, and he takes the thing, shines in the moonlight, and apparently is used to fix the thing's wing. Opens up. Yep. Yeah. But this was a fun little episode. Indulgence. Ooh, this one. Yep. Yeah, this one. Okay. Yonako and Watari basically go shopping. Yep. Of course, Yonako puts on this smoking hot outfit, shows off her nice belly. Yeah, shows off her midriff. And puts her hair up because here's kind of the strange thing about this series. A lot of the women in this series basically all have very similar hair length. How far does this thing go? Usually down to their rear ends. Yes. This is by far the third series I've seen that has done this. I've seen in Naruto Shippuden where Hinata's hair is growing this long. In Bleach, you have Orihime and Tatsumi's hair grow very long, basically down to the rear end. And this is by far the third series basically I've seen like this, where you have hair real heck. Hawari's hair is that long to even this housewife's hair. And apparently, it's all in this episode that Yonko has a computer. Where she got this laptop? No idea, because it's never explained. And he's like, you got a laptop? Okay. Where'd you get it? Yonko never explains. Apparently, she met some woman on the internet, basically if you're like magic girls. And apparently, she got addicted to the internet. So, they would hang out there and then they basically said, stay with his laptop. Okay. So, alright. And basically goes off. For a little while, goes to an internet cafe. And then she sends most messages. And then she gets back to her apartment via climbing up the frickin' building. Somehow. And then tells her to basically destroy the computer. And then takes a baseball bat. They bought a red baseball bat. Yes, a red baseball bat. Right at the same moment. And then smashes the laptop by slicing it in half. No, baseball bats do not work like this at all. I have a baseball bat. They do not at all. They break stuff. I personally am using my baseball bat, which is basically wood. Yeah, because I like having a baseball bat with me. Even though I suck at playing baseball, I kept the bat because I like having the damn thing. This is if I got all my rest of my baseball stuff, I kept that because I like having it. That's the gist of it. So, yeah, and able to not break the table. Says, yeah, that laptop is destroyed, but she can still bring it if you want to, but as payment, she'll take the high chair, which is her son's high chair. And she's questioned about this later, and it's never resolved because this client is never seen again in the series. She probably went out to buy a new high chair anyways. Ooh, Hydrangea. This one. We have the Rain Spirit Ami make her debut in this episode, though she later appears in another episode. Yeah, she later returns episode 11. Yeah, this is by far a really interesting episode. Yeah, she basically asked to deal with this Hydrangea, of course, running Dimari, and of course, they go to Himari's house to take something personal, basically a couple ribbons, and apparently the Rain Spirit has something against Himari. I don't know what she has against her, but it's particularly a little bizarre. Apparently she has like insecurity because, well, because she's I don't know if because she's a girl or something, it's not particularly revealed. In case you're wondering how she's dressed, she's got pigtails like Himari does, though she's a redhead, wears a goth-style dress, and has basically an old 19th century umbrella. No, this thing doesn't have holes in it. This is basically like a 19th century European-style umbrella. I can tell by looking at it. I personally do not own an umbrella like this. I just know because I've seen it in older movies. So they go to this gigantic hydrangea, which this is a real plant. My mother tends to try to grow one of these things, but not this freaking big. What's the size of a giant Christmas tree? And apparently this thing is got magical power, so it tends to basically bury Watari. It takes him another dimension, meets up with a little girl, and then tries to take it to like this where the smell is coming from, and eventually gets a ribbon kind of thing, gets a Watari's ribbon. They get out of there, and instead of reveal this child's actually been dead for years, burn victim, and be able to solve the case. And 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 Ami says, "Oh yeah, thank you for your help. I'll settle the payment later." Like, okay, fine. Yeah, it's an interesting little episode. It's a great character piece for Donaki, who actually gets like a bit of character development in this episode. hmm Next comes The Contract. This one is basically one I want to talk about. This one. Okay. Yonko decides at random she wants to clean up a warehouse. Okay, fine. Yeah. Was this the one basically that where she got? I think it was in a later episode. There was I'm trying to remember. There was one episode. I think it was this one here. There was one episode. I don't remember which one it was. Where I think it was 6. I think it was where actually it may have been 7. I think it was. Let me look it up here. Yeah, it was one episode opened up quite interestingly. Wasn't this one? No. I think it may have been episode 9, where it opened up basically with Watari basically doing laundry, and then he turns around and sees Yanako suffering from heat stroke. So he picks her up by her midsection, yeah, basically by her belly, takes her inside, gives some water, and turns out the water just sake. Yep. I thought this was a fun little moment. As far as I know, this is the first time that Hawari has ever touched her. Yes, first time in this series he's ever actually touched her. And here's the thing about Yonko. She has a strange thing of touching people's faces. She does this a lot, and apparently no one has a problem with this at all. She does with guys and girls. The reason for this never explained. She has a fetish for. I think she has a fetish for doing this. Yep. So in the case of episode 8, that basically there's this woman who later be a teacher at Watari's school. Takes this little scroll box. As Mel goes like to open it, I'll take a few days. Expect it back. It turns out that thing has a monkey's paw in it. Yeah, it's some supernatural object. I'm not familiar with it. I've never heard of this damn thing. They do explain something else in a later episode about the red string. I've heard of that, mostly in fiction. I've never heard of it in real life, but yeah, whole thing about fate. But that's explained in a later episode. I don't think it's explained in this one. No. I think it's explained in. I think it was mentioned in episode 10. I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was episode 10. hmm So she basically gets wishes granted because of this monkey's paw. First, it's to get this mirror and get some idea, which that backfires on her, and then drives her ends up being late for work. Eventually, she causes it to disappear, and then she's never seen her mentioned ever again. And eventually, Yonko gets back the monkey's paw anyways, and then she gets a new wrapping with it, and the thing just gets sealed up, and it's never seen again. Yeah, this was an odd episode. Just a little bizarre. Pinky promise. Oh yeah, this one. Okay. This one involves a woman who is a liar. Apparently, she's a cheater as well. Yeah, because even though she has a boyfriend, she apparently has got about 10 different boyfriends, despite the fact she's got one particular guy that she constantly hangs around. Apparently, she also smokes, which yeah, was particularly very odd. Now, there's also a object that pops up in this episode, basically this wool snake. The way the snake is not poisonous, basically wraps on Yonko's neck, wraps on like their finger. This is the episode that reveals the whole red thread of fate. Yeah. So, and they do a joke about this, basically having the snake wrap on Yonko's finger and Watari's finger is basically the whole thing with fate. Yeah. So eventually, she's giving her a ring just like she did the woman in the second episode of the series. This one has a different ring because the first time this happened, she had a ring with like a little red jewel in the middle. This looks like it's basically a silver ring with little lines on it, little squiggly lines. Yeah, it's not very good looking ring. So eventually she takes it off, and then the other guy shows up and kind of ruins her whatever she had planned. And basically, apparently apparently the guy she was hanging out with at this park, apparently he's her actual boyfriend. The other ones, of course, are fake boyfriends, and where she constantly lies to them. And apparently she admits it, and nothing is followed up with this at all. I don't know if the woman later has to break up with all these guys because of all the lying. Either he breaks up with her, or he takes her to basically has his own way with her. Completely unknown because a lot of time the clients, they really don't know what their fate is when it comes to this thing. So Dominique gets involved in this thing just by sheer coincidence. Limelight. This is a really good episode. It's basically okay. They want to take Yonko basically because she knows that Watari has got a thing for Himari. So Asgard thinks he doesn't know how to. Okay, how about a group date with her, Watari? Well, basically Watari, Yonko, Himari, and Donaki at a temple at Donaki's temple. First Yonko and Watari show up, then Himari shows up wearing a kimono, and of course they go inside. They tell ghost stories. Some of them are pretty interesting. Watari was one about like a man who murdered his wife because he got fed up with her. In the case of Yonko, never got a chance to tell hers, but in the case of Damaki, his was basically something about like a past friend. It was really creepy. And in the case of Watari's, this was actually a true story. He didn't make this one up, like the other two did. This one actually happened to him, where every time he tried to go to another block, this guy who looked like he's dressed like Abe Lincoln with an umbrella and a weird-looking mustache just walks by him. And you see this guy later, and of course you have these other guys simply just trying to break in later. And apparently this whole room was protected by the candles they lit. And they eventually break through and they try to grab Watari. Though luckily enough, Damaki, who is also a trained exorcist, uses an arrow, a bow and arrow that the arrow itself is like a big energy arrow that just basically invisible arrow fires the damn thing and kills the spirits. Okay, fine. But the episode itself, which is just a quick little Halloween episode, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah, for being a Halloween episode, it actually airs in June, which is quite odd. I mean, if I were the animators, I would air this in October, not freaking June. Yep. Confession. This one basically is the anime debut of Zonsky. Yes. So, Himari does not appear in this episode. This is actually the first time since the pilot she does not physically appear. Because generally she appears in like every episode so far. This is actually her second time she missed an episode. Though, first one since her debut. Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened to her. It's that because, well, you have Watari apparently snacks and leaves one for Himari, goes to her house, because, she knows where he knows where she lives, and rings the doorbell, and, doesn't answer. Yeah, I don't know exactly what she's going to do in this episode. Maybe she was absent. Then runs to Damaki at the park. He eats the thing. And then Zamasu shows up. This woman with blue hair. And she at one point takes Damaki's soul as sort of like a gift. Because she also is attracted to Watari. Like, wow, a rain spirit attracted to Watari. So eventually, like, okay, this woman must not be here. And then Yoko shows up in hilarious fashion. She shows up, just pops up basically sits on the swing right behind him when he's got Damaki, the unconscious Donaki, and she's basically comes right in front of him, almost like she looks like freaking Spider-Man, but she's actually just turning her head upside down right in front of him. I'm surprised she didn't start kissing him right there. Just that, wow, it's just so hilarious. Yeah, not the first anime I've seen where a character has their face upside down in front of another character. The last series that's all like this was the original Naruto series, except it was Naruto doing it to the woman who was in love with him. Yeah, though his punishment was getting bopped in the head. Yoko got no punishment at all, except for Damaki, who got his head hit a freaking pole. Turns out she's not human. She's a rain spirit. Okay. So eventually they were chasing her in the frickin' sky via Manchu get his hands on a giant bird. They ride into the damn thing. They chase her down. Apparently she started crying. And apparently these four guys think it's a crime for causing a woman to cry. So basically fight and have this hilarious little thing where they have the birds. The bird chase these four guys off like in the background while she's talking to Watari, and then the rain spirit Ami just shows up and just basically, just get back to the thing. Explain the whole gift thing was a little different. She was a little confused. So eventually she leaves and just goes home. She's very protective of her. Yep. And then the last episode is a beach episode. Yes, a beach episode. 12 episodes in. I'm like, this is good. I like this. Because the last series I watched, Pandora Hearts, did not have a beach episode. No, and it did not. I thought that was kind of weird. For I remember, they had no beach episode at all. And the last series I watched that had a beach episode, off the top of my head, Pandora Hearts didn't have one. Fire Force, as far as it doesn't have one. Not even the current manga. After the most recent they had aired so far, not even the current arc has it. Let's see. I think the last one, Blue Actress, was the last series I saw that had a beach episode. That was filler, but at least they had it in the actual damn series. This was basically just having the four go on vacation to this vacation house. And, they spend the house. And, of course, Watari's worried that his room is not next to Hawari's, though hers across the hall. And, of course, he notices, like, a blue flower. And a faucet thing. A faucet can turn on because they turn a long time. Eventually, Dominique they turn on no problem. And then prepare like breakfast later. And the next day it's like go swimming. Okay. So apparently Watari hears some scratches in the middle of the night. So he gets out of his bed. Now, the way he sleeps is quite weird. I don't sleep like this at all. Okay. The way he sleeps, it's something like the sheet just cover like its midsection. Now, when I sleep, I like to have my full body covered with sheets. I don't like my feet hang off the edge and having like underneath like the sheets not cover my feet. That's just how I sleep. It's just particularly very odd. That I'm sure this is probably how he usually sleeps, but me, I can't sleep like this at all because I like to have my whole body covered by sheets. That's just me. So he basically hears scratching, and then he sees like there's another room. So he notices on the wall. He basically puts ear to it, and turns out it's a fake wall. Opens the door up, basically black ink, blue ink over the wall. Sees this other thing, and then revealed to be Manchu. And it turns out this whole part of the trip, that the whole trip itself was all Watari's idea, but this whole scaring him, that was all Himari's idea. And you see Himari in a swimsuit, and it's a interesting little swimsuit. It's basically a swimsuit that almost looks like it's a miniskirt. As for Yanko, I was hoping to see her in a swimsuit, and yeah, I'm actually quite happy with her swimsuit. It's a big purple suit that basically you could see a little bit of her chest. A little more than usual. It's basically a purple one with a little flower on it, basically reminiscent of her outfits. But yeah, I don't remember this happening in the manga at all, but this was a fun little episode. And of course the episode ends with a bit of a cliffhanger. With the actual spirit of the house just seeing and Watari getting scared, and that's how the episode ends. And it turns out Watari cannot swim. No, he cannot swim at all. For some reason, I don't know why. Yeah, but these are 12 really pretty good episodes. I would say probably the weakest episode of all of them, in my opinion, is probably... I say it could be Contract, because that was kind of a weak episode. And I would probably say Fortune Telling is another really weak episode. But I love my first thing I love about these episodes is not only the interaction between the primary stars of the series, Wataru and Yanako, between Yanako and Himari. This interaction is fantastic, and of course the interaction between like all the characters interact with each other is really good. I personally love it. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. I know this one's quite long, but this is just covering 12 episodes of the series. So I think the next part basically will cover just 6. Yep. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. Next view, newest chapter of My Hero Academia, okay? Do this next view. Bye.